what I do with my week? I just powered through and I beat Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we talked about FF16 a bunch, and I had a lot of criticisms, right? And I didn't want those criticisms to negatively affect your experience. And I feel like some people thought that was. I don't know when you're planning to get to Spidey 2 or if you do, but I don't want any negativity that I have to overshadow the fact that the game is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely fantastic. But there is kind of a death of a thousand cuts thing going on near the end specifically,
Okay.
where a bunch of very little tiny things start to build up to create like stuff, like problems.
I am aware that there is a nuclear bomb in the form of a costume, but I have not seen said costume.
All right, so I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a
Okay,
second.
that's all I know.
So, the first thing is we talked about copyright stuff. Well, Miles I did a mission with Miles that everyone was asking about. Did you do this mission? It's so emotional. And I'm like, yeah, I did that mission. It was fine. Only to find out that the reason why I didn't give a shit is because the scene just has no music. If you have streamer mode on, it just has nothing.
Okay.
It just has nothing.
That sucks.
Which really bummed me out. Do you want to see the fucking costume?
Yeah.
Cause
So, like, is it just what's the big deal here? What are we talking about?
So you know what? I'll give you context. Okay, here's the context. So, there are parts of the game that mandate that you have the quote unquote canon costume on. So like there's cutscenes where you switch to Spidey's like blue and red with the white spider logo on it because it's really important. Similarly, there's parts of the story where Spidey has to wear the Venom suit.
Okay.
Because
know what? Maybe don't.
Okay.
Don't.
I'll just talk about it. I won't even describe what it looks like.
Sure.
And in the finale of the game, Insomniac says this is going to be our new look for Miles, the same way that blue, red, and white Spider-Man logo is for their version of Peter.
Their
right?
version, right.
And Miles comes onto the fucking camera, and I am just gobsmacked by how ugly it is. And they don't let you change out of it because it's the important finale thing. So like, I really mean this, and people who watched the stream saw me react this way. We're having the big fucking throwdown against Venom, and it's this big fucking war, and they cut to Miles, and my face goes like every time for like 3 hours.
Damn.
It
okay.
Like I never got used to it. It's so bad.
Okay.
And they make you. It's the worst suit Miles has on his entire list. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm not forgetting.
Okay. I guess because I'm like it. If it's the big reveal after for whatever story reasons or such, then like it's also a bold choice in terms of what they decide to do with it compared to slight more modifications.
It's bold.
Okay.
It's bold.
Damn.
There are other things. So like in general, I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like this is a really minor point, but it affected me more and maybe somebody else's enjoyment. Peter's suits in this game are terrible. The selection, like you remember playing Spider-Man 1 and you would unlock a new suit and you're like, whoa, what's this from?
Yeah.
And in this case it's from a movie. It's another red and blue variant from a movie. Oh, this one it's Spider-Man 2. This time it's Amazing Spider-Man.
The black part sticks out a little bit more and it's textured.
It's there. Every MCU suit, all 9 of them are in the game.
Okay.
along with all the Raimi suits and all of the Amazing Spider-Man suits. Like movie suits take up like 50% of his fucking outfits, and like it's bad. Like, you know what suit I ended up wearing for 99% of the game? The Dr. Octopus one from the end of Spider-Man 1.
Damn. Okay. Yeah,
right?
I get. It's interesting how, like, you know, I guess Spider-Man really is that. But like, when you think of Batman and Iron Man, you think of them as like, every time I see you, I want it to be new tech. Like, it's a part of the idea because you're a tech hero in a way.
It honestly kind of reminds me of like the way we talk about fighting games. And when we talked about Street Fighter V and Street Fighter 6, about like, man, I can't wait to see new characters. Meanwhile, there's like a huge proportion of people that are like, if Guile is not in the game, I'm going to just leave.
I'm walking
right
away.
and it feels like when I talked about it, people, I saw responses that were like, yeah, I don't care about any suit other than the Raimi Spider-Man 2 suit, and if that suit's not in the game, I'm not going to play it. And just
Damn.
shit like that. And
Okay.
I'm like, I don't understand this.
Well, I think it's the simple matter that this is the most popular superhero of all time.
Boy, is it.
So that many opinions are going to be that strong because this is the planet Earth weighing in on how they feel about Spider-Man's costume.
Can I go back to Miles's shit costume for a second? I'm not black, so I don't know.
Have the exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
I don't. But I actually need, because he's wearing sneakers and they're Adidas, and I'm like, that seems like the wrong sneakers to me. That seems like, especially in Spider-Verse, isn't he wearing Jordans?
Okay, in Spider-Verse he's wearing J's, and in Insomniac-verse he's wearing Tim's, which are New York as fuck. And
you can see the Adidas logo on these shoes. And I'm like, that seems wrong.
Is that a deal? Was a contract signed?
It's gotta be a deal.
There's a deal was signed? Okay. Because, yeah, it feels like it should be one of those two. Not just because of, like, it's, well, for authenticity's sake, right? That's what matches the vibe. That's what someone of his age and in this location, in this particular part of the world, would be fucking rocking, you know?
People suspect that Adidas designed the whole suit. Oh man, if that's that's funny.
What are those?
So I want to talk about Mary Jane. You played the first Spider-Man game, and in that first Spider-Man game, there were these Mary Jane sections, and everyone was like, I hate this. And I actually saw an interview with one of the devs yesterday in which they acknowledged that everyone hated the Mary Jane sections.
Oh.
And their solution was to jam a bunch more Mary Jane sections into the game. But this time, they're going to show that you can be a hero without powers by giving her a gun. They just give her a gun, and it plays like a mediocre third-person shooter.
All right.
And her sections still suck, but they have the bonus of making all of the enemies in the game look weak as fuck, because MJ gets like them? Well, she gets shot in the chest with crossbow bolts, and she just pulls them out and then rushes them and then beats them with a stun gun.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is Kraven's elite hunters from a world away with the technology that can take down Scorpion and Shocker, and it's like,
video game logic has to still rule the day.
I can't really. So I have like, I think overall the character of MJ was a little improved because at least you get to shoot a gun. I think near the back half of the game they spike her into a trash can, like they're building her up and she's getting better, and they're like, into the trash.
I thought you meant literally. I was like, wait, what? Okay,
no.
Right.
because like her there's very little I can talk about this without spoiling it.
That's fine.
But they keep trying to give her agency and more agency and more agency, and then she both gives up all of her agency in the stupidest way possible, and then the resolution of her story is so awful that I gasped out loud.
Oh wow. Okay.
And was offended by the game. Like what they did with her didn't offend me. I mean, the actual lines of dialogue associated with her in the ending hurt my feelings and made me like grossed out.
Wow.
It is a slam dunk into the trash.
I feel bad for like, man, all I can think about is when people talk about MJ in the comics, the sentiment I've been getting has been like, why the fuck can't they just have Peter be happy with his wife? Why is it always gonna be just like they fucking hate each other / never again / rip them apart, you know? And it's like, oh, the days of them just being all right are gone.
I don't know,
forever.
man. Even from the get-go, MJ's character seems like so poorly realized in this because she wants to be like a real journalist, you know, and working for the newspaper like Peter. And then like in one of the earlier things, Peter's like, "Oh, your book finally hit shelves," and she's like, "Yeah, like 12 people bought it." And it's like, "Oh, cool, you are a failed journalist." And everything to do with that sucks. And it's
yeah.
She does get okay. I will say one thing. MJ does get one really awesome, cool moment that they then ruin.
Okay.
Like she gets to like really put it out there and say everything that I've wanted a Mary Jane character to say in like years, and then they walk it back like 5 minutes later, and you're like, oh,
man,
that's really lame.
Okay. I feel like there's like it every time there's a long relationship in the course of like a story that's fucking told over decades of you know history in comic books, everyone's gonna try everything in the kitchen sink, you know, they're gonna throw it all at the wall and then eventually just reset it. But the stuff that tends to stick and stand out is like, no matter how insane and wild these adventures get and how bold and crazy the writers get, most of it can be easily forgotten or dismissed, but there's some things that stick around. And for example, you know how it's like, oh, The Simpsons has been was amazing, and then it fucking died, and now it's oh, and then it's like, oh, it might be getting better again, but maybe not, and it's weird, and the quality is all over the place. And like the thing you hear about is like, remember that fucking that weird episode where like Marge cheated on Homer? Wasn't that fucked up? You know, and everyone's like, "Oh Jesus, when the fuck did that happen?" You know, and like I feel like with MJ, it's that kind of bit where you're like, "Wait, they did what? What the fuck are you doing?"
Like, yeah, the character has like a long history, but I think like even within the context of just the Insomniac shit, it's really weak. Like the finale of the game starts to go up, and everyone's talking and like, "Here's the plan," and I'm saying, "God, I fucking hope." In between these action sequence, you don't cut to MJ and have MJ do some useless shit oh, here we go. Here's the worst level yet.
Okay.
I was complaining about it, and somebody in the chat goes, Pat, it's like 10 minutes out of the finale. And I'm like, it should be 0 minutes out of the finale. It's ridiculous.
But go ahead. Yeah.
That's all I want to say about that.
In terms of the Spider-Manning and the way those games tend to ramp up is the fully unlocked kit right before the end is always fucking nuts.
It's a good kit, by the way. It's very excellent. I did 100%. Like my bar says 100%. You are busted by the end of that game. Mm-hmm. You are super, super busted. Soft locked myself a couple times. One of which was when Miles gets his final ability and you're drowning in skill points. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, I'll go into the inventory and I'll level up the skill to level 2 before I use it in the tutorial. Soft locked.
Oops.
Okay. Had to reload it. But Um, I don't know how I feel about Venom in this game. So Venom's cool as hell, and he does a lot of cool Venom things, and that's great.
Looks perfect visually, no
Um,
notes.
but he's not Eddie Brock, and as a result, he's a space monster. Like it's Tony Todd as Space Monster instead of Venom.
Did they do their own thing, or does it play it like the new movie in any way, or is it just a completely new vibe?
It's a new vibe.
Okay.
Um, um, what I'm saying is like, so when Eddie Brock is Venom, and there's like Eddie Brock hates Spider-Man, and Venom also hates Spider-Man. Here we have Venom wants to fuck Spider-Man. And so you heard me talk about last week about how Harry and Peter's shit is like a gay sex tornado.
Okay. Was that premature?
That was premature.
Okay.
I think somebody summed it up by like the homoerotic subtext between Venom and Spider-Man has always been there. It is no longer subtext. It is the text. There are lines of dialogue in this game's finale that are like, "I want to kiss you on the mouth, Peter Parker."
I was inside of you, Peter. Let me back in. Yes.
Like, and the way that Venom has tentacles that are just always slithering all over fucking Spider-Man's like fucking dick and ass and shit. It is out of control to the point it feels so much like a lover's relationship that there was a point in the game that I just started to lose it. I started to laugh so hard because I couldn't believe how ridiculous it was. Peter calls Harry on the phone to be like, "Are you still in there, man?" And it goes to voicemail. And he starts to cry and leave him like an ex-boyfriend voicemail. And I start to lose it because, like, dude, Venom is not going to check his voicemail. I don't check my voicemail. Who are you leaving this fucking message for? You sound like an idiot.
Interesting.
Playing a Spider-Man, A+. The story of Spider-Man in this game, it's definitely the weakest of the three.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the first two, you know, like in the end, I was like, I enjoyed that, and I liked Miles a lot, you know. So,
I feel like Miles doesn't have anything to do in this game. I feel like Miles gets a lot. He gets missions at his school. And he can do half of the friendly neighborhood missions, and he gets to do the Mysterio side stuff. But I feel like for the main plot, Miles has like 2 things to do, and then he does them, and then he becomes like a sidekick.
Okay.
For the whole, like he, yeah, he does not feel like the other playable Spider-Man. He feels like
the energy of the two of them on screen at the same time, so based on the first and based on his game and stuff, is kind of very like, yeah, here's my boy Wonder, right? You know,
yeah.
Like, but I guess you're saying like in plot event wise, there's just not much for him to do.
Yeah, so Miles gets like, hey, save the Jazz Museum, and Miles gets help Mysterio out, and Miles gets go do help odds and ends for the kids at your high school and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Peter is like, I'm being eaten by an alien monster. I gotta stop craving.
It's going down. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I remember I was complaining that like the 2 characters don't actually interact very much for most of the game. And when I got to the finale, people were saying, "See, they're doing every mission together." I'm like, 75-80% of the game they're completely separate, to the point where they don't even call like Peter doesn't even like talk to him on the phone. Like Miles calls him and Peter just calls.
I would assume that's to build up the fucking the combo.
A little bit. But it just ends up like they actually spend very little time together as Spider-Mans.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like the right way to handle that would be to like, you know, to like have it happen and then split it up and then bring it back a little more, and then, you know, because we know it's what you want, so then you gotta tease it and, you know, Give a little bit, take a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough then.
Oh, and also the final takeaway is like, yeah, no, this game had to come out on the day that it had to come out because boy, I just every time I sat down, I ran into a bunch of like Class C bugs all over the place. Like they put out a patch the final day that I played the game, which was like they fixed the bug where Spider-Man turns into a cube.
I saw
where
that, yeah.
if you play for like 6 or 7 hours, he would just turn into a tiny cube. They should have. Oh, if somebody from Insomniac can hear me, I would like to extend my condolences because there is a part of this game that feels like Insomniac got fucked over really bad by Marvel. So there is a Spider-Verse quest in the game, right? Where you catch little spider bots and they all represent various rare Spider-Mans, right? Okay. And the fucking payoff at the very end of that thing is you get to meet a character that got cut from Spider-Verse during the game's development. So I saw it, I'm like, who the fuck is that? And people are telling me they only exist on like concept art pages for Spider-Verse. Damn, they weren't in the movie. And I'm like, so this thing means nothing? I'm like, yeah, it means nothing.
Easter egg if you know what it is, I suppose.
I guess.
Okay.
But like, bummer.